Welcome, Faith.
Well, thank you for having me.
Appreciate you for coming on the bottom line.
Yes, I love it.
Making the drive, and
yes,
we're going to dive a little bit into a topic it's really important to me.
Okay.
Because we fight sex trafficking, and we do it in all 50 states, and every single week we at some some of the bad guys will say they run into the law. Well, we run into the law too, but for us it's just we run into law enforcement because we need their help.
Yes.
And at times we don't get it, or they don't have the manpower, the finance, the resources. But then we also run into the legal system, particularly that being district attorney offices across the country.
Yes.
And you're going to educate us a little bit today on sometimes it's nuanced and it's specific to criminal, which is kind of your background. Is a lot of, even as a judge, adjudicating some of these things. But district attorneys, they're so important in our fight.
Absolutely.
So I want to dive into that today. But give us a little brief background. Are you a Dallas native?
Not originally. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So I was born and raised there, and I attended high school, college, got my graduate degree there, and I came out to Texas in 1977, finished law school in 80. So I've been here a long time.
But you did law in Texas. Is that where you were first licensed? You took the bar in Texas.
I did the bar in Texas.
Okay.
Yes, I graduated in 80 and actually passed the bar right after I graduated and became licensed in November of 1980.
Okay.
Yes.
Started practicing law.
Yeah, I
cutting your teeth.
Yeah, started practicing law, and first I was a Reggie felon, not felon, but Reggie. I had a fellowship through the Reggie program, and I did that for a year and a half, and then after that, I wanted to do something different. And in 1982, I don't know, you probably have never heard of Henry Wade, but he's the legendary Henry Wade, who probably was the longest serving DA in the state of Texas, and you might be able to compare him to other places in the country. So
what city was he DA?
Dallas County.
So he's a Dallas County.
He was a Dallas County.
Do you remember, was Reggie back then? No, this is 80s, right?
Yeah, that was in the 80s. So was
he a Democrat or
he was a Democrat. Now his son.
But that was a different Democratic
that
party.
Was back in the 80s.
Right?
It was different.
I argue today that Democratic Party is
Yes.
probably pretty center right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, from policy and how they view life. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I became an assistant district attorney under him. He hired me.
All right.
And which, the DA's office looks a little different today compared to then. And in fact, when I came on board, they might have had 7 African American working as prosecutors. And obviously their focus was different. I mean, when you look at what they did then and what they did there, I have to remember now Henry Wade was the one who tried the Oswald case, the assassination.
Really?
Yeah, so that's how legendary he is.
Okay, hold on. So that's where I've heard the name.
Yes, that's where you heard the name.
So he tried the Lee Harvey case.
Yes.
Kennedy assassination, which for some reason, Kennedy assassination, and it's because some of the documents have been declassified, But that's a hot topic today.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Right now, everybody's talking Kennedy again. Kennedy because it's declassification. They talk, and of course they're quoting Lyndon B. Johnson, and now we get CIA operatives coming out saying, "Well, that's not happened. There was really 4 shooters or whatever."
Yeah.
So Wade.
Yes.
He presided over the.
Well, he actually tried it as prosecutor.
He tried the case.
He was the DA who tried that case back then.
Wow.
So he's the man that hired me as an assistant DA, and I went through the DA's office. I was with them for about 7 years, and the last 2 years I actually helped start the child abuse unit, and I was the chief of that unit.
What year was that?
That was back in 1987.
This is after Kennedy.
This is after Kennedy.
Were you with Wade?
Oh no, I'm not that old. Yeah, no, I wasn't with him.
No, but even you were still
I was
under
still
Wade.
with him. Yeah, I was with Wade.
So he stayed.
He stayed. He was with me 80 because he hired me in 82. So he was there in 82 and maybe 83, 84, I think. And that's when he retired and John Vance became the DA.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when you started the child unit,
it was under John Vance.
It was under Vance, okay.
Right, because Wade was retired.
What was the focus of that child unit back then?
Well, we focused on prosecuting child molesters. I mean, back then.
More domestic violence?
No, it wasn't domestic violence, although when you look at child abuse, a lot of times domestic violence is involved.
Yeah.
But people back then, that's why I don't want you to ever give up hope when, this whole thing of human trafficking. Back then, they didn't care about kids. I mean, they didn't care about prosecuting somebody who would literally have sex with a baby or have sex with a 3-year-old.
In the 80s.
In the 80s. And prosecutors didn't know how to handle those cases.
Of course, yeah.
And they would always, a lot of times they would dismiss those cases, or they would give the guy probation. But when I started that unit,
man, we're back there.
Yeah, and when I started that unit, in one of my focuses, no, these guys, these crimes are terrible. Are you kidding? It's impacting kids for the rest of their lives. We're prosecuting these guys, and if they don't want to take our deal, we're going to trial, and we'll let a jury decide.
Yes.
And I remember one of my first cases. A little 7-year-old. Can you imagine a little bitty baby? And I call it a little baby.
This is what we fight every single day today.
Yeah, a little bitty baby, and you're putting them on the stand.
Oh, so you brought. Yeah, that's a big discussion today, right?
Yeah.
And we're working a lot about how not to re-traumatize and re-victimize the child. But back then, you would put that child on the stand.
But I'll get them ready.
But you still did the system.
The
system still put this child on the stand.
Yeah, we had to put him on the stand. And I remember my first case. I mean, and it was an executive, high executive.
Of course.
He thought he deserved a dismissal or probation. I said, no. You know what you did? This is a little 7-year-old. This is your own little baby. Your baby. No. We're going to trial. And that's exactly what we did. We went to trial. And when that little baby got up there, and all you had to do is just look at them and see what they do and say. And the way you know they're telling the truth, they're so consistent. Because little baby is difficult.
But a child doesn't process like an adult. Somewhere in our lives as adult, we get into hiding from shame.
Yeah.
My son this morning, no joke, this morning, now my son is under 3 years old, but my son this morning, I just hear him screaming in the kitchen. But you know the cry of your child.
Right.
You know whether it's pain.
Right.
So I go, okay, he's loud, but it's not bad. And I hear that his sisters aren't with him. So it's just him in the kitchen. And as I'm entering the kitchen, he's pointing. And he goes, I did it. I did it. And I go, what'd you do? And he goes, I slipped and I fell. And I go, why? He goes, because I did it. And I turned the corner. And the kitchen was a swimming pool.
Wow.
Somehow he got water, flooded the kitchen, right?
Wow.
But he fessed up to it immediately.
Yeah,
He's like, I did it.
Yeah.
I fell. Or he'll come to me and go, I hurt my sister.
Yeah.
Right? Children don't. They speak the truth, right? It's unfiltered. And I looked at my wife and I go, you can't even, when your child comes to you and they're just honest, you can't even get mad.
Yeah.
It's a teaching moment. But it's like, if life would be like that as adults, just be truthful and be honest.
Yeah. It's almost like the Bible says, if you could just come to me as a little child.
Because that's how they come. They come with truth and out of the mouth of babes.
Yes. And that's what I loved about the fact that this little baby got on that stand and just told it like it was. And that guy didn't walk out of that courtroom. He got 50 years. Now, think about it now. He wanted probation or dismissal. Jury gave him 50 years. And those are...
Okay, but I'm going to pause you. I'm going to pause you here. And we're going to go straight to the bottom line in deep. This is in the 80s, middle 80s, somewhere in there. Okay, give or take a couple of years, right? It's in the 80s. Or was it early 90s?
No, it would have been 87.
Okay, so 87.
Toward
my wife was born in 87. Okay, 87. A guy gets 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A month ago, give or take, we have a Supreme Court justice being nominated that takes minimum sentencing in child porn cases. We've got people across this country that's trying to normalize sex with kids, that's trying to lower the age of consent to 13. We're not seeing these cases, Faith. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. We're not seeing these cases go to court because the law in Texas today, they'll get 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
They will get 30 years. They'll get 30 years in California. They'll get 30 years. Heck, New York is out of control. But even in some of the real blue states, they'll get close to 30 years because we've come a long way since 2015 with legal reform of protecting children. But these cases don't go to court.
That's right.
But they went to court in the 80s, and a guy got 50 years.
Exactly.
Because he went in front of a jury of his peers.
Yes.
And the Americans, because that's the jury, the Americans said, this is not okay.
Right.
Those cases are not going to court today.
Right.
Particularly in Dallas County.
And you know why? It's where are you setting your priorities? When we started that unit back in the 87, the priority was that we don't like what you're doing to our babies. We're not going to stand for it. We're going to do something about it. So under Judge Vance at the time, and when he came to me and said, hey, help me start this unit, we set the precedent that this is how it's going to be now in Dallas County. And that's...
Yeah, you draw a line in the sand.
And we had prosecutors who were willing to do it. See, part of the problem is that...
the prosecutors aren't willing to do it. And look, these cases are really...
Or know how to do it, are willing to do it.
Maybe back then, I'd say, well, they didn't know how because it was so crazy.
Yeah,
and the law didn't even... There wasn't even particular law. There
Right.
was always prostitution. Now there's specific law.
Right.
There's case law even, and we shouldn't be trying it on case law as a country. We have the law, but for some reason, somewhere we slipped into... We want to go Brown versus Johnson, and what did that judge say versus just looking at the facts in front of us. But today, you're right. They don't want to, or they're afraid, or it's just too much work for them.
It's not a priority one. You know, it's depending on what you think is important. And that's what's happening.
But golly, Faith, if we cannot say that children are important.
You don't need to convince me.
No, I know. Well, you're here in this room today because I know you're on the good side of this ledger. And I want people to understand, because people often hear me go, so if I can show you, thousands of messages a day that I get on social media. Arrest the, and then fill in the explicitive, right? Arrest them, give them 30 years. And I go, to give them 30 years, I got to get them into the court of law.
That's right.
They don't even get into the court.
Right.
What do you mean? They rape babies. It doesn't get into the court.
Exactly.
Now, I'll say this, and I'm saying this. This is me speaking for me, not you. We are not getting that kind of support from Dallas County at the moment.
I can imagine.
I'm not getting it from the Dallas County judge. I'm not at all. I'm not getting it from the DAs. As a matter of fact, we have disbarred and banded some special units. I had Dallas Vice Unit in my office this past week, and we're trying to revive a specific anti-child sexual exploitation task force because Dallas doesn't have one.
Wow.
But we're in the number one city for child sexual exploitation, commercializing it in the country, and we have a vice unit again. That was disbanded for 2 years under the defund the police.
Yes.
Now Sergeant Luster and some of the guys have a vice unit back, but we don't have a specific unit. They're trying to determine whether there's one needed.
Wow.
I go, what are we talking about?
Wow.
And so this is a big problem for me, not just in Dallas County, but LA County. Houston. Oh my goodness. So somewhere, help me out here, Faith. Let's okay. That happens. I didn't know this, but you start a specific child unit.
And we started
and
processing those cases
in the court of law.
In the court of law. And I'm telling you, I bet you in jury. I mean, we did jury trials, not.
Yes.
And, sometimes we may have.
That's what I want, though. I want the real American people to look at a pedophile and go, this is a pedophile.
Sometimes I was going to trial 2 and 3 times a week in these cases. Yeah, and that was what I was doing for 2 years. And then, of course, after that, I became a judge.
So I want to talk about that. So you went from there. Did you always want to be a judge?
I didn't always want to be a judge.
How did that happen?
All I know is that all my life I knew that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to do something. And remember now, I'm from a family of youngest of 13. I mean, we were poor growing up. And
hold on, you got 12 siblings?
Yeah, and some of them have passed away now. But
of course,
I'm
you had 12.
Yeah, I had 12. Yeah, I had 12 siblings.
Golly.
And we were poor. We didn't know we were poor, but we were. I didn't even know what it was. All I knew is that I had a great family.
You just opened a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
You just said so. Sorry, we're gonna take these little rabbit holes, right? You just said something that I just think people need to know.
Yeah.
Honestly, you said that I was raised by a single mom as a school teacher. By definition, that's poor. Okay, but we didn't know it.
Right.
A lot of these things today that kids proclaim, it's because they're told it.
That's right.
You're poor.
Yeah.
You're a victim.
So now you got to act a certain
You're
way.
the outcast.
Right.
You're the minority. Right. They don't like you.
Yeah.
You just said it. We were poor, but we didn't even know it.
No, we didn't know it.
Because your mom didn't walk in as a victim every day and go, Faith,
yeah, we're poor.
we were just dealt a bad card.
Yeah, no.
God just smiles on other people. We're just poor. We're teaching kids these things today.
But think about what one of the things my dad did, because my dad would work 3 jobs. He lived till he was 100 years old.
Come on.
And he was married to my mom for 60 years. So
that itself is unique, right? In the African American community.
Right. So get an idea what kind of family I came from.
Wow.
So my dad, all I knew from them was, hey, we're hardworking people. I didn't know I was poor. We did. My dad wanted to make certain that all his kids, although we were poor, wanted to make certain I took piano lessons. And he paid $1 for our piano lessons. So I learned how to play the piano on classical music. And I'm a concert pianist now, along with all the other things I do. But think about what my dad was doing. And he was willing to work 3 jobs
for his children, for his family.
He didn't go out and steal. In fact, when he was out of work one time.
Yes, golly, I'm getting chills all over my body.
He was knocking on doors, trying to get a job. I mean, at that time, I wasn't born. I think he had 8 kids at the time. He was out of work. He was going from door to door, said, hey, I need a job. Nobody would hire him. He finally went into one establishment and said, look, man, I need a job. And the guy said, look, we're not hiring. And he said, man, I got a wife. I got 8 kids. I need a job. I'm willing to do whatever I need to do. He said, no, man, get out of here. That's what the owner said. Get out of here. We're not hiring. My dad said, but I need a job. And the guy said, look, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to call the police. My dad had looked around, saw a broom in the corner. He just went over there, grabbed a broom, started sweeping. The guy came up to him and said, didn't I tell you we were not hiring? My dad didn't say a mumbling word. He just kept on sweeping. The guy said, get on out of here. My dad didn't say anything. He just kept sweeping. And the guy finally said, okay, man, you got a job.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said, okay, man, you got a job. That's what he did. And my dad stayed on that
Persistence.
job. Yeah. My dad stayed on that job for about
I guarantee you that place had never been cleaner.
Probably not. Exactly. But that was his commitment.
But it's pride to his family.
Yes.
Yeah, good night. These are the conversations. Where are we as a society where people think they can walk into a store, steal 900, and then we make a law that you can't prosecute them?
No, we didn't make the law. You got somebody sitting in the office making the law. No. The law still is you can't steal.
Well, you can't steal, but they come and write some mandate or something that tells people it's okay.
Some inner office policy. No, we're just not going to prosecute. Well, obviously, our shop owners, our business owners, they don't like the idea that you can come into their store.
No, think of insurance.
And who else is mad? Parents are mad because parents are teaching their kids, don't steal. But somebody in authority say, oh, no, go ahead and steal. I don't care that you steal. In fact, when they tell a kid it's okay to steal, they say, hey, I don't care about you. Go ahead and be whatever you think you want to be. If you want to be a thief, you want to be a robber, go ahead and be that.
That is child abuse by default. It's child abuse because you let that child. What's your dad's name?
Benjamin. He's passed away now, but his name was Benjamin.
His name's still Benjamin.
That's right.
He's in heaven.
That's right.
You know what my dad's name was?
What?
Benjamin.
Are you kidding?
No.
No way.
100%.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not.
Wow.
So those 2 Benjamins are with the Lord together.
Exactly.
They're there.
Exactly.
2 guys.
Yes.
Hanging.
Yes.
Hanging with Jesus.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Faith's important to you, right?
Absolutely.
Your mom named you Faith.
She sure did.
Names are so important.
Yes.
So important.
Yes.
You can study the name of Benjamin, and you're going to go deep into the Hebrew culture, which is part of my history, 50% of my history. My dad Benjamin his family's Jewish. And from the tribe of Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
And one of the 12 tribes. And so interesting, your dad's name's Benjamin. Your dad set an example.
Yes.
That I think people need to hear about today.
Yes.
It's about hard work, respect, self-respect.
Yes.
You know, when people do the things that I see them do today, it's a lack of self-respect. Because if you respect yourself, it's so fascinating. When you dive into Scripture, God says, love your neighbor, and people love that, as yourself.
As yourself.
Hold on one second. The reason we see people today not love life, not love people, steal from anybody, harm anybody, shoot a police officer whenever you want to do, they don't love themselves.
Exactly.
There's no self-respect.
Exactly.
There's no self-love. And I argue this, Faith. It's I'm not talking about ego.
Right, exactly.
Talk about agape, selfless, unconditional love, where you give yourself grace to and you give yourself forgiveness. I firmly believe it's impossible to truly love yourself unless you have an understanding of the love of the Father.
Exactly. How much He loved you. So regardless, He loved you even in your sin.
Exactly.
Even when you don't love Him, He still loves you.
He still put His Son on the cross.
Yes, He put Him on the cross.
And so we're really looking at a culture today where there's such a lack of self-love, self-respect, dignity, responsibility, accountability, all the things that come with it, accountability. No, I guarantee you, if I could have a conversation with the two Benjamins today, my dad and your dad, this is what your father would tell me every morning when he woke up. He felt the pain, he felt the stress, but he said, not for me, for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Not for me, for them.
Absolutely.
For my wife, 60 years of marriage. The guy lived until he was 100.
And almost 101. He would have been 101 the next month. Yes.
Come on.
Yes. My mother lived to she
13
was 8.
kids.
13 kids, exactly.
And then people today tell me, you just don't I've got 25-year-olds today tell me, life is so stressful. It's so stressful. I don't have energy. My life is so busy. A dear friend of mine's boyfriend just broke up with her. And I'm going to do this. Why not? Let's do this. This dude calls, he's 35 years old. He calls this girl who's a gem. She's a gem. She's amazing. We know her. And he's a good guy. He calls, he goes, my life is very swirly. He's 35. Temporary job, not a full-time job. Kind of do here, still pursuing some dream from when he was 12. And he goes, my life's just too busy. This is no room for you. I go, dude, go sort out your life. 35 years old.
Wow.
Confused.
Absolutely confused.
That would not fly.
Oh, no.
In your dad Benjamin's days.
Better believe it, I'm telling you. Yes.
Get a whooping.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm telling you.
How many brothers did you have?
I had 4 brothers and 8 sisters. Yes.
Did you get along with your brothers?
Yes, I did.
Because at 13, there's an age gap. So some of them are almost like
Yeah,
out of the house already.
Really, my daddy.
Because you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest, so we kind of grew up in sets of threes. But what was so interesting is that some of my siblings' kids were my age. So I had several sisters.
You had nieces.
I had nieces who
were
older,
sisters.
Right, who were
like
older.
Your
age.
They
were older than me, yes. And they
Wow.
refused to call me Aunt Faith. They want to call me cousin. I said, no.
I'm not
Aunt
your
Faith.
cousin.
Yeah, they want to call me cousin, not Aunt Faith.
Wow.
Even
that
today.
must have been an interesting upbringing.
It was
there.
interesting. In fact, right now we have 5 generations.
And this is in Georgia, right?
Yes, in Georgia for the most part.
There's such a culture in
Yeah.
Atlanta, though. I've spent a lot of time in Atlanta because when I immigrated, I lived in Nashville for 10 years, and it's so close. It's a little hop, skip, and you're down in Atlanta through Chattanooga. And there's such a rich black culture in Atlanta. I mean, it's rich, though.
Yes.
Help me understand a little bit your family, because who you are today. You're a product of a sum of events over your life.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I want to dive into that just a little bit because you're kind of an anomaly right now. And I'll say that in a positive way. You're Black American in the legal world, former judge, DA, running for DA again, conservative, Christian. I don't know that society knows what to do with you. You know, you're breaking so many of the societal nonsense stigmas that they've created that I don't know how, because I think you're defying everything that they're trying to tell a young, underprivileged kid today that comes from the very same streets that you come from,
exactly,
who they should be and can't be and can be. I think you're defying it.
Yes.
And I had this conversation just because we're talking Atlanta. I got an opportunity one day. A guy said to me, "Hey, do you want to meet Evander Holyfield?" I said, "Yeah, I love boxing. I've loved Holyfield, People's Champ. I really like Mike Tyson too, as a fighter, not as a man.
Right.
And I had a management company at the time, and we ended up managing Evander. But I go down to Atlanta, Evander Holyfield Boulevard, to his house in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia. And we had this conversation because he said to me, I love soul food. And I said, where did that start? And he goes, well, if you grew up on the streets where I grew up.
That's right.
Soul food. And he just took me through this cultural, hey, welcome to Atlanta, welcome to Georgia. And it's such an interesting culture. So the kid today that comes from the streets you come from, these are the messages they need to hear. That, wait a minute, she was a judge? She was a judge in the early 90s? Yes. Way before Ketanji Brown.
Right, exactly.
Come on, this is 40 years before Ketanji Brown.
Exactly.
And oh, by the way, 40 years before Ketanji Brown, this judge started a child unit to defend children from pedophiles. 40 years later, we're behaving like it's the first time we're ever even approaching the subject of having, no, come on.
Yes.
Your community has produced such value already for children. So it's just, I think these are the stories people need to hear. You're running for a political office. Again, you've held this seat before.
Yes.
That was a weird situation, though. You were nominated by the governor.
I was appointed by the governor.
Appointed by the governor,
yeah,
sorry.
to serve out a term. The DA before that stepped down, and which was unusual.
Midterm?
Midterm.
Okay.
And she had served, really only served a year and a half because she stepped down in September of 2016, and the governor appointed me in December of 2016, and I took office January 1, 2017.
As the Dallas
County
District Attorney. And this was Governor Abbott.
Yes, Governor Abbott.
Okay.
And so I ran for office and obviously lost because all Republicans lost in Dallas County.
In 2006.
2018.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. It was like a bloodbath.
Lost. Even our judges on the Court of Appeals, which usually they would hope for votes out of Collin County, Rockwall, and that sort of thing to save them, but it didn't. So all the judges on the appellate level lost. I lost. Everybody lost who ran countywide as a Republican. And obviously, though, I see it totally different now, and I'm so excited about this race for 2022. One of the things. When you asked a question earlier about and I think what I got from that question is, how did I even get where I am to be even concerned about public servitude. And so I go back to when my mother posed the question to me, because remember I was telling you that growing up we were poor, didn't know it. Yeah. I had 3 outfits that I wore a week. 3. That's it. And my mother had saved $25. I was about to graduate from high school. And she wanted to get me whatever I wanted. And she just knew I was going to ask for a new outfit. And she came to me and said, baby girl, what do you want for graduation? I saved this $25. I can get you whatever you want. So what do you want? And I said, Mama, I want 100 friends. And she looked at me and she said, no, baby girl, do you understand? I've saved $25. Back then, $25 was a lot of money.
And in that family.
Yes,
it might have been $500.
Exactly. She said, I can get you whatever you want.
Yeah.
I said, Mama, I want 100 friends. She said, baby girl, what are you going to do with 100 friends? I said, Mama, I'm going to do this for them, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And the way I'm talking like now, the way I'm doing all this, that's what I'm doing with my mama. And think about it. All the way back then, 16, 17 years old, the only thing on my mind was what I can do for you, what I can do for you, and what I can do for you. So this whole thing about me running for judge or running for DA,
came from childhood.
It's in me.
Yeah.
It's in me.
Well, it's a servant's heart,
yes.
Right? Yeah, but that's the Lord's heart too.
Yes, to make a difference in the
faith,
dude.
Man, I'm not often surprised, but I'm pretty surprised by this interview where we go now. I love this. I'm loving this. Because again, I tell you, I was raised by a single mom. We never knew that we were. everybody around us probably looked and go, how's that woman raising 3 kids by herself and on a teacher's salary? We lacked zero. There was so much love in our house. I mean, I'm telling you, it's incredible, the amount of love. And then look, it got interesting. You know, I think you know the story. My sister Ilanka went through trafficking, and so it got really interesting. But so much love. I love all people, but I have a really, really particular liking to people that somewhere in their past struggled. There's something about that. And I'm not saying the people I know in my life, and I know many, that struggled in other ways. They struggled with abandonment or maybe abuse, or there was so much money that the parents weren't even involved, right?
Exactly.
I'm talking about particular financial struggle, right? There's something that it does to a human being. It can either break you or obviously make you.
Yes, exactly.
And I don't know how your siblings, it would be interesting to look at your siblings because I just want to process this for a second. $25 was such a big deal for your mom.
And I didn't even want it.
No,
think about
you
it.
didn't. But that paints a picture for us of the family, okay?
Yes.
And you became a judge. A judge. The journey from the 13-year-old girl with 3 outfits to judge is Mount Everest.
Absolutely.
It looks impossible
exactly.
to that kid today.
Exactly.
But it's not.
Exactly.
It's not. It probably only needs a mom and a dad that believes in you. Some few people that along the way say, keep going. You can do it. You can do it. One step at a time. That's why God says, I'm a lamp to your feet because you can't see any further. And I'll be a light to your path. And I think if we teach more kids, just all you need is a lamp to your feet. You don't need a light to your path. You don't need to see 4 years, 5. Today, walk in faith, walk with the Lord today. You just need a lamp to your feet and tell him, hey, it's enough light. Just keep moving. Versus you're the victim. Sit down. You can't make it. That race is above you. The gap from 13 in your life to judge.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And think about it. When I was a kid, I didn't say I want to be a judge. That's not what I said.
No.
I just simply said, whatever I do, I just want to help people. So that's why what you're saying, for God to be able to lead you each step of the way. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what he's done in my life. He's led me each step of the way. Even when I went from graduating from high school, going to college, getting my psychology degree, working as a counselor for people who were addicted to drugs. I didn't even know what drugs were. I mean, I had no idea.
Before you even became a lawyer.
And before I even went to law school.
Law school, yeah.
And once I got out of college, the first job I had was being a counselor in a drug rehabilitation center. And all I wanted to do, and I didn't even know what drugs were.
Well, that's just God filling your tool belt.
Marijuana, didn't even know nothing. I didn't even know it existed. But all I knew is that I wanted to help people. And from that, I was trying to get judges to probate people to my program because I wanted to help them.
Yeah.
And in that's when I had the desire to go to law school. And do you know what the desire to go to law schools was still not even making money? I said, I just want to help people. And I said, I just want to go and help people. I'm going to go to law school, help people. I never even thought about
the legal system.
Right. I never even thought about how much money I was going to make or that I would even make money. I never thought about it.
Was not a deciding factor.
It never was.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So I love what you said.
Lamp to your feet. That's
Lamp
all you
to
need.
your feet.
That's all you need.
Each step.
Yeah.
Just take that step.
Absolutely.
Just know deep down inside what you know you want. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to make a difference. And when you look at my career, every last thing I've done was still about how can I help you? How can I impact?
You know, when I look at culture today, one of the things that really hits me is this: how people say, well, they must not know. No, people know. People know, but they're not being true to themselves.
Yes.
Stay true to yourself. Stay true to the little voice inside, because God puts hope in every person.
Yes.
He says, "I can never leave you nor forsake you." It's impossible. So there is always a little pilot light.
Yes.
Like in the fireplace.
Yes.
That pilot light's always burning.
Yes, exactly.
You just need to flame that little thing, and that's the lamp to your feet. It's just teach kids there is hope. Stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Don't abandon principles. And heck, you're going to go from some town in Georgia to becoming a judge.
Yes.
Really help people.
Yes.
And now here again, district attorney. Faith, I'm going to ask you a big question. Mm-hmm. Why in the world are we having so many problems with our DAs? And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Right now, in 2022, right at about 80% of the district attorneys in the state of Texas are liberal. Mm-hmm. About 80%. And the liberal mindset, the current liberal mindset, not the Democratic Party from 1980.
Right, exactly.
That your father was part of, probably. Right?
Exactly.
That's not the mindset today.
Now. Exactly.
Okay? Because that guy, that Benjamin, I can almost guarantee you, was not okay with child abuse.
You better believe it.
That guy was not going to let his sons watch child porn.
Or stealing $750 and not.
Or stealing $750.
Exactly.
You're going to whip them, take you back to the store, make you pay it back, or work it back, apologize to the man, whoever the store.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That's a completely different mindset.
Exactly.
Okay. What in the world is going on?
You know what it is?
Please.
It's politics. These DAs are looking at what it's going to take for me to get reelected or elected. Let me hear what the people who are, what they are saying as opposed to what's right. They are not committed to upholding their oath and doing what's right. Because as a DA, you're the chief law enforcement officer of your county. Your responsibility is to represent victims. Your responsibility is to make certain that we're safe and secure.
That's right.
So they're not concerned
Represent
about that.
by the state.
Right. They're concerned about that you may have a bunch of folks out there who want it to be the way they think it is. They think, for an example, in Dallas County, that people are okay with you stealing $750. Now, for some people, they would love to be able to vote for somebody who says okay to steal $750.
Well, it's the one who wants to steal that thinks that way.
But do you know majority of the people
not
want that?
No way. It breaks your society.
And it doesn't matter which community you're in.
Yeah.
South Dallas, people don't want it. North Dallas, West, East, they don't want it. African Americans, Hispanics, Indian, it doesn't matter, brown, white, it doesn't matter. They don't want that. You got people who really do want to do what's right. Mm-hmm. They want to do what's right, and they want you to do what's right.
As the DA.
As the DA.
Think of it this way. If you need a DA to represent you as a human being, right?
Yes.
Well, you're probably not able to afford your own lawyer.
Yes.
The state's going to represent you. So by default, it's someone who really needs help.
Exactly.
Already, right?
Exactly.
They're victimized already.
Exactly.
They probably don't have a lot of family fighting for them.
Exactly.
They're not surrounded by money.
Exactly.
So it's an oath. It's a responsibility, a duty of the state to say, well, listen.
Yes.
It's part of why we pay tax.
Exactly.
We need to take care of that kid. If the DA then does not step in and take care of that victim, whatever it is, domestic violence, child abuse, sex trafficking, prostitution,
who's going to do it? Who's responsible if you're not going to do it?
Nobody.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me that one of the prosecutors were, and a lot of them are leaving in Dallas County, left and right. But one prosecutor recently was terminated because she didn't dismiss a case in time because the defense lawyer was very upset that the case didn't get dismissed. And she literally got terminated because she didn't dismiss the case for the defense lawyer.
But that's like fighting for the other team.
But even worse, they came in and told her that you don't only just work for the DA's office, but you work for the judges and you work for the defense lawyers. That's what she was told.
Wait a minute. The district attorney, the prosecutor, is told you work for the defense lawyers?
They were told, this particular prosecutor was told,
unbelievable.
You work for not only the DA, but you work for the judges and you work for the defense lawyer.
That's called corruption.
That called who is in there taking care of the victim.
Yeah.
If you got that mentality that the DA's office pretty much represent is governed by the judges and the defense. Now, I understand that we all work together.
Of course.
That's the kind of office I ran.
But you have to look at the case.
But you understand your role.
You have to look at the case and the victim and protect and defend that individual.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a statement. You tell me truth or false, right or wrong. It's my perception, just in all the work we do, that it's better for a DA's political career to get a quick victory in a case and take cases where they know they can win, right? Than to take a case of, let's say, a child that's trafficking his own daughter. Today, we don't bring those children on the stand, so it's hard to get testimonies. It's a longer timeline. It's a tougher case. And they just go, that's a lot of work. We'll just plea that down. And I'm seeing it played down to a misdemeanor, to a gun charge, because there's always guns and drugs involved, always in these things. So they just plead it down. And all of a sudden, now you get a child sex trafficker getting probation or getting 2 years and 1,000 hours community service or some stupid thing on a drug charge. And I go, wait a minute. Why are we charging this guy with a drug charge? Yes, he had drugs. They were raping a child.
Exactly.
This guy should get 30 years in front of a jury.
Exactly.
So why do DAs? Is it because, look, they think politics and their political gain first?
As I said to you earlier, it's politics. Now, I will quickly say I don't believe all DAs
no,
are
of
doing
course
that.
not. Of course
we'll
not.
never say that.
No, of course not.
But unfortunately, you have too many DAs.
But there's many
who are thinking just like what you just said.
It's never everybody.
Yes, it's never everybody.
It's always look. Scripture says the little leaven spoils the batch.
Exactly.
It's the little, but unfortunately, in our country today, we're allowing the tail to wag the dog.
Exactly. And one of the things that I don't know if everything I did when I was DA was popular or not popular. But I'm telling you, I was led by what I thought was the right thing to do under the law. That's what governed my administration.
Just the law, because it's written.
What is
uphold
correct
the law
under the law, and that's what we don't have presently in Dallas County. Because if we had that in Dallas County,
it would be a different
would
picture.
not have all the things you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Being able to steal $750.
No, no way.
All you got to do is say, "I need it." So therefore, if they need it, then we're not going to prosecute.
Well, look, you're running for an office, and I'm telling you, I'll say it to you here: you win that office, I'm knocking on the door, man, and I'm expecting for us to do things and just do it right. Do it right by the law.
That's all.
And word of God. I'll tell you this:
that's my commitment.
When we're looking at Dallas County, right now, I'm talking from school superintendent in Ahosa to Clay Jenkins. To the current DA, all of them, the whole caboodle, all of them are in cahoots with the left, right? And a radical woke ideology. Here's what I'm seeing: a guy who became a friend of ours, right? And he's been on the show before. This is a teacher. He sees an injustice. He sees another teacher abuse a child, sexually abuse a child. He becomes a whistleblower in Dallas County. Okay, the guy who abuses the child keeps his job, keeps working.
Are you kidding?
No. They move him out of Dallas County to Euless, but the guy who became the whistleblower gets fired.
Wow.
His case is still pending. It went to the Supreme Court. It's back in the county. It's back in Dallas court now. He hasn't worked for 4 years.
Wow.
So the guy blowing a whistle saying, "Wait a minute, I saw a teacher abuse a child, not once, 2 cases. 2 cases. That guy gets fired.
Wow.
Immediately for me, I go, corruption. Something's way up the flag. Something's very bad here.
Wow.
Something's bad. Now, I've tracked since 1992, back to 1992 up until now. We've tracked 18 cases in Dallas County. 18. modern day, after 2002, about 14 of these cases since 2002 in Dallas County, every single teacher that was caught, was accused and caught of abusing a child, right? Still teaching.
Are you kidding?
No. Up to October 2021, I think it was the 16th of October, 10th or 16th of October, a case came up and a teacher's probation was up, but it was probation only, still while teaching, after molesting a child. Not teaching in Dallas County anymore, so they move him out of Dallas County, keep him in the system. It's kind of like the Catholic Church moving these priests around that abuse boys from parish to parish. And I'm going, something is very, very wrong in Dallas County. Something's not right. It's not right.
Now, I remember that was one of my high profile cases. I prosecuted a teacher who was not only a teacher, but also a Boy Scout leader. And he would molest these boys over and over and over again. And I was able to get 7 life sentences on that teacher. He better not be out and teaching anywhere. I can't remember the guy's name.
Well, listen to what you say.
Yeah, he better not be out.
I'm laughing because the absolute insanity that's coming to our culture. You're talking about 7 life
I got 7
sentences.
life sentences.
Okay. I'm talking about people abusing kids and people saying, but a kid should be able to have sex today. I'm talking about us having a conversation at a Supreme Court justice level in 2022, whether is 1 child porn image or 600 too many. What's too many? And you're talking 7 life sentences.
7 life sentences.
It's not even the same universe.
I know it's not.
Because what I'm hearing you say is just uphold the law.
Uphold the law.
We have good laws.
That's right.
We have really good laws today. In this state, Texas, we have. Funny enough, with California, of all places, we have the best anti-child sex trafficking laws with California. They just don't enforce them in California at all. They're sexualizing kids. But the law in California is amazing. They've got amazing laws protecting children. So we do in Texas. We're just not seeing these cases go to court. We're not seeing these guys get the time. Okay.
But that's why it's so critical to have the right people in office to
You've
make
got to
it
run.
happen.
You have to get back into that office. And not just you, though, unfortunately.
So many more. Yeah.
I said 80%.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to drop another bomb. George Soros, years back, made a decision and said, I'm going to own the DAs.
That's right.
And invested.
Millions of dollars.
If not tens of millions.
Yeah, that's right.
In funding campaigns.
Exactly.
Why would he do that if he didn't know that you could truly change the fabric of a community through the district attorney's office?
He understood that. And unfortunately,
the Republicans missed that point.
They missed it.
Completely.
And people are missing it, that they think voting for president and voting for your senator and your Congress and your governor is the biggest thing that you can do. I'm telling you, the biggest thing that you could ever do in your life when it comes to voting is voting Faith Johnson as your next Dallas County District Attorney. And voting people like me as the district attorney for that county. Because that's where
county
the rubber
judge,
meets the road. Right there, locally.
County judge, local.
Yes, exactly.
School superintendent. School board.
Exactly.
I mean, we are losing the battle on our kids.
Yes.
People always say, Jaco, it just happened overnight. Nothing happens overnight.
Exactly.
Nothing. Yes. Satan takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
Slowly infiltrates.
Exactly.
And I always say this, be careful what you forfeit. Be very careful what you forfeit, because it's going to be a hellfire fight to get it back.
Exactly.
It's not easy.
That's right.
It's like a reputation.
Yes.
You know, it's so hard to build.
Exactly.
So when you give it up, it's hard to get back. And we have given up the future of our children because we've just abdicated local politics in this country. Yes. They'll do the right thing.
Yes.
No, because they know you weren't watching. They said, that's where we'll go.
They creeped in.
That's what George Soros said. That's where I'll go.
That's where
I'll own the DAs. I'll own the district attorneys, and the county judges and the school superintendents and the mayors.
And he's literally dropping millions of dollars. And even the current DA, he admitted himself in a D magazine, I took over a couple of $100,000 from Soros. So, and we almost positive it was more than that, but he's already admitted that in a Deep magazine.
People may not know, but money does matter in politics because it's about advertising.
Exactly.
And so you can actually buy a race. You can.
Yes.
You can buy a race.
Exactly.
There's no question about it. Because it's name recognition and how to go and so. But I'll say this, that the greatest campaign ever run on earth is not a Coca-Cola campaign to get Coke in every. It's actually the campaign that was run by one guy and 12 guys that he called to walk with him. It's the greatest grassroots campaign in the history of mankind. That's Jesus and the 12 disciples building the gospel. Him and 12 guys said, we're going to build it grassroots, town by town, city by city, house by house, ground up.
Exactly.
It's not. This country, you do not defend it White House down. You defend it street by street, house by house, up.
Exactly.
That's how you defend this country.
Exactly.
That's how you establish fabric and a fiber in a community.
Exactly.
Family matters.
Exactly.
Like the Johnson family.
Exactly.
13 kids. You want to tell me that guy didn't have pressure? Of course he had pressure.
Exactly. Well, actually, Johnson was my married name, but Simmons is my
name.
Simmons.
Simmons.
Yes.
Benjamin Simmons.
Benjamin Simmons.
In his honor.
Yes.
What was your mom's name?
Eva Simmons. Eva Mae Simmons.
Benjamin and Eva Mae. They must have been in love.
They were.
60 years.
60 years.
Dan just had 42 years marriage.
Wow.
Producer Dan in the studio.
Wow.
Becca in the studio. You know how long she's been married? 0. Not yet. It's coming though. We're praying for a guy to come. An amazing guy. Praying for a dude who can be a father. I don't know if it's going to be 13. I don't think so. Probably not. 13 kids.
And I do want to say too.
Like, no, I'm not having it.
I think it's so important. Obviously, you started off our conversation with the fact that my faith is so critical, and it is. I accepted the Lord as my Lord and Savior on August 1st, 1982. Although I was raised in the church, I didn't quite understand.
Were you a senior? How old were you then?
I was an adult when I literally accepted the Lord in my life. I was raised in the church, and I was raised to do what's right and wrong and not do what's wrong. But I didn't understand what salvation was. And
the relationship, yeah.
I mean, I understood the fact, hey, God is good and church is the right place to be, and to do good, don't do bad. I understood that all of my life because remember now, my mother's father was a preacher. So my mother, she instilled godly things.
Did you go to his church?
Well, I didn't really ever, I never knew my grandfather.
Because of how young,
Yes. So he was a traveling minister.
Okay.
But I accepted Christ in my life in August 1st, 1982. So my faith is so, so important to me. And I'm telling you, I would still be in a law firm right now, not running for DA if I thought, but for my faith. And God had to push me and say, no, you had unfinished business in that office. I need you. The people need you. See, if it were just up to me and I just wanted to be selfish.
Run a law practice, make money.
Yes, make money.
Pick your cases.
If it was all about
Cherry
me.
Pick your cases.
That's right.
Easy.
If it was all about me.
Get real focused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not about me. It goes all the way back to when I was about to graduate from high school, and my mom asked that question.
$25. What do you want?
What do you want? And I said, I want to be able to do this and that. And God had to remind me of that. He says, it's not about you.
But it isn't. It's not about us at all.
It's not about us.
Ever.
It's not about us.
Can you imagine what would happen if your dad made it about him?
That's right.
13 kids would suffer. People would not eat.
Exactly.
End up on the street, end up in drugs. The fact that you didn't know what drugs were till you were 17, and your father had 13 children.
No, until I was 21.
21. Your father had 13 children.
Exactly.
Come on. These are the dads that I want to... Whew, man, I can get violently angry about this. Fathers, and me included as a father, we have to step up in this culture. Because I'm telling you, I'm seeing a lot of Esthers. There's a lot of Esthers in this country, man. There's a lot of Esthers. And the guys, I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you out because you can't. A man doesn't rise by himself. You call him up.
Exactly.
You nominate him.
Exactly.
You call him and say, you come up, step in. You step into your calling, step in. We need men to step up and step in these fights that we're talking about. to recalibrate,
yes.
readjust their cities,
yes.
Tell their friends, that's not the right guy. Don't vote. Bring this guy up.
Yes, exactly.
Pastors start speaking up. So
yes, exactly.
So it's not just women fighting these fights.
Yes.
Faith. Okay. Question for you: do you have children?
No kids. I always wanted about 6 or 7 kids, and I never had kids. But I got all these adopted kids and all these nieces and nephews and everybody else, but none of my own that I birthed personally.
Yes.
I'm a mentor in the debutante program. In fact, when I leave here, I got to do a nice little video for my debutantes. And so I love that. I've been doing that for about, over 20 years.
And that's giving back. That's a discipleship model.
It's about that. That's what it's about.
And we met really long before I even knew that you were a DA or running for DA. What drew me to you first was the faith component, because we connected on the faith component. It's not ironic. It's providential. It's divine that your mother named you Faith.
Yes, absolutely.
God just works in amazing ways.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is 2022. A lot of political races later on in this year. We've had some primaries. Some states have primaries, some don't.
Right, exactly.
For you, it's November 1st, right?
November 8th.
November 8th.
Yes.
In Texas.
Sorry,
2 days ago I was talking in the Oklahoma Senate, and so that's a completely different, so I hardly remember what state we're in, Dan, and where we go. But we had a big day yesterday, huge day yesterday. 2 days ago, we're at the Oklahoma Senate and House, and Dan and I bouncing from the House to the Senate around the rotunda with Representative Russ and Senator Weaver and some amazing guys, because we had a bill that passed the House and it had to be approved by the Senate, and their session ends tomorrow. No, it ends today. And we had to go up there to help whip a little bit of votes up and a little support because it wasn't on yet. And it's a anti-child porn bill.
Good.
To protect children from child pornographic material in the classroom. Oh, yeah. And it passed yesterday in Oklahoma.
Awesome.
It's the first of its kind in the country.
Awesome.
Ever. To take all digital material and protect children from pornography with severe penalties.
Awesome.
Down to the teacher, if anybody was to introduce that stuff to the children. And now hopefully we can take it across the country.
I love it.
And go see that. But it's just time for us to draw a line in the sand, which I think is what you're aiming to do.
Exactly.
I think you're aiming to just get back to what's right.
Exactly.
In the Dallas district, Dallas County District, and in the Dallas District Attorney's Office.
Yes, absolutely.
With a particular slant to criminal cases, right?
Yeah,
and you tried a lot of criminal cases as a judge.
Yeah. As a judge and as a prosecutor, yes, I've tried tons and tons of cases. You got to remember now, when I was a judge, sometimes I would try jury trial. I would try maybe 90 jury trials a year, and the judge who tried the most cases next to me may have tried 40 that same year. So sometimes I may.
Do you enjoy it? You enjoy the process?
Yeah, I just enjoyed the process. I just enjoyed the fact that I wanted to make certain that we had an efficiently ran court that makes. I took the position, if you're guilty, I want you to go ahead and get whatever sentence, whatever is supposed to happen to you, let it happen. And if you're innocent, then I want you out of my jail. If you're innocent, I don't think you ought to stay in jail.
Yeah.
I'm totally against innocent people being in jail. So let's go to trial, get your day in court, and let the jury or the judge or whoever is going to decide make that decision so you can be about your way one way or the other. Either you're going to be free, or you're going to get probation, or you're going to go to prison.
But sometimes guys go to prison, and in prison they actually get free because they meet the Lord.
Exactly.
Sometimes we need sometimes people need a little bit of help to hit rock bottom.
I had people would come up to me in the grocery store and they say, "Are you Judge Johnson?" I said, well, I said, yeah, they say I look
what I do.
No. You know what I would say? Oh, yeah, they say I look like her. I say that first to find out what are they. They said, no, you're Judge Johnson. You sentenced me to prison, and I just want to thank you.
Wow.
I said, oh, you want to thank me? Yeah. He said, but for you sending me to prison, I would be dead today. But I went to prison, changed my life.
Wow.
I'm a better man. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. Thank you. And I even had people to come up to my court, and they'll bring their kids and say, I just wanted to come back and say, thank you. You sent me to prison. And as a result of that, I'm a different man. I've accepted Christ. I'm a minister now. I'm in my church, and I'm impacting people in my community. Thank you for sending me to prison.
And we're talking, for anybody listening late, we're talking about those who have broken the law according to the law.
Right.
Have to go, and those who are innocent need to walk.
That's exactly.
Regardless
right.
of their background, or who
right.
they are, where they come
exactly.
from. The law is the law. It's written
yes, exactly.
to the letter of the law.
Exactly.
And the Word of God's the Word of God.
Exactly.
And it's the ultimate.
Exactly.
It's above every law we've got in this country.
Exactly.
Even above the Constitution.
Exactly.
And so, Faith, I don't know that we can end on a better note than that. Thank you for how you serve. Thank you for your heart to serve. And thank you for willing to do it again. I always look at those people that have gone 10 rounds, got a bloody nose, got a cut, won the fight, taken a break, and go, I want to go again, but not for me, for the other people. So here you go again. And I think all of Dallas County should be celebrating that they're about to have a district attorney. It's going to let the law speak.
Exactly.
Not going to pick winners or losers based on other elements, but just going to let the law speak.
Exactly.
So God bless you. Thank you for helping us understand some of the roles and responsibilities of district attorney. I encourage people to really get involved in your local community.
Yes.
Just understand what's the role of a district attorney.
Yes.
What do they do? And what Faith told us today is they got to defend those who cannot defend themselves.
Yes.
The victims, the voiceless, the harmed,
Yes.
etc.
Exactly.
And we got to do that as a community. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much.
Thank
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much for having me.
See you guys next time. Thank you.